1941-1945. During the war, 12 rifle and 4 cavalry divisions were formed in Kazakhstan. In addition, 7 rifle brigades and about 50 separate regiments were created. The members of all military units were citizens of the Republic. April 1944. When Dad went to the war, there were still those guys who stayed at home. It turns out that my dad was the very first one who went to fight these fascists. Well done. He also wrote us that he received a medal. I immediately told Vovka and Ali Beck about that. Now I'm the son of the hero. Although, to be honest, all our dads are heroes for me. After all, I can't even imagine how scared they are. Well, for example, yesterday when I went to the barn, something moved and rustled there. I screamed with fear. It was awful. I tried to imagine if there would be grenades around. That's all. I decided to start training in case I have to go to war.
Страшный момент очень был много, особенно на территории Советского Союза.
There were a lot of terrible moments, especially on the territory of the Soviet Union. It became easier only in 1944. The fascists were retreating and we were pushing them back.
Был такой овраг, перегородка там был, чтобы вот под этим.
We spent almost 3 days in the ravine preparing for the offensive. It was horrible. The enemies were shooting at us, especially at night. We were shooting back at them as well. It was horrible. Janbek Kerimkulov is a native of Turkestan region. He went to the front on March the 13th, 1942. After a short training, he joined the Mortar Regiment. He was responsible for loading the legendary Katyusha rocket launcher, one rocket of which weighed about 43 kilograms. 16 such rockets were fired every 7 to 10 seconds. I'll describe one day at the front. The whole day was stressful. In the morning, we were always expecting the fascist fire. We were all in trenches, always ready for fire. We slept in turns, one after another. First, someone was awake for 2 hours, and I slept for 2 hours. Then they woke me up, and it was the other person's turn to sleep for 2 hours. So we slept one after another. There was not enough food, shells and clothes at that time. It was a very difficult time. Despite all the difficulties and losses, our soldiers went only forward. Today their memories are the fragments of our history. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers forged the victory, and each of them is our hero. The Kazakh soldiers made a great contribution to the victory in World War II. There were 5 divisions from Kazakhstan on the way to Moscow, including the 316th Rifle Division near Maloyaroslavets, the 312th Rifle Division near Tula, the 238th Semey Rifle Division, as well as the 387th and 391st Almaty Rifle Divisions. As a result of heavy fighting on the way to Volokolamsk near Moscow, the 316th Division, commanded by General Panfilov, together with other units and formation of the 16th Army, blunted the enemy's attack. Panfilov formed a powerful combat division. 36 ethnicities were represented in that division. He managed to create a team. In my opinion, Panfilov should get proper respect. He was known for his strategic thinking. He was also very smart and insightful. Everyone loved him and called him Batka, which means dad. Even before the hostilities, as soon as the basic list of members of the division was formed, training of recruits began at an accelerated pace. Being a well-experienced military commander, Panfilov understood that the coming war would be the war of vengeance. Therefore, the soldiers trained near the city of Talgar at the training ground. Panfilov used tractors to teach the soldiers how to take the hit and get used to the tanks. It was Panfilov who first applied that teaching tactic. And that was not his only successful tactical decision.
Вот эти страшнейшие бои и тактика Панфилова, что их
There were terrible battles. There wasn't enough military equipment. There were almost no tanks, no machine guns. The division was almost like a militia.
И поэтому их Панфилов научил, он считает, к тому, что вот нападает враг.
Therefore, Panfilov trained the soldiers. He believed that if the enemy attacked some kind of fortification or a village where one battalion or platoon was located, the soldiers should fight until the end. But if they retreat under the pressure of the enemy, then within 2 or 3 days, the survivors had to gather together and form a single unit again. On November the 16th, despite heavy losses, soldiers of the 1075th Regiment did everything to blunt the enemy's attack. Ivan Panfilov died heroically on the 18th of November 1941. After the death of the general, the division was named after him. It was the first unit of the Soviet army which was named after the commander. The next combat mission of the Guards was to retake the lost positions in the Krukova region on November the 30th, 1941.
Еще один интересный факт. Крюково вызывает командира.
There is another interesting fact. The commander of the artillery regiment, Kurganov, read the order in Krukovo. Only few people knew about that order.
Вот он читает доподлинно слова. Приказ. Прошу продержать.
He read,
до
I
второго
ask you to hold until December the 2nd, Joseph Stalin.
дивизии такой.
That was the order to the division.
Надо
On the 1st of December, Baojan Momishuli was wounded and he was lying on the snow.
снесли труп.
A phone was brought to him and he said, "We'll hold on. I have 71 people in my regiment."
71 человек.
On December the 7th, Krukovo was liberated by the forces of our troops. Baojan Momishuli went successfully through the whole war, but he received the Star of the Hero of the Soviet Union only in 1990, posthumously. The memory of the national hero is preserved in every corner of Kazakhstan. Our famous fellow countryman, a native of Joly district of Jambil region, Baojan Momishuli, gave a unique exhibit to our museum. There is no such thing anywhere else. This is a personalized Mauser. This Mauser was placed in the hall of Baojan Momishuli. The residents of every city of Kazakhstan honor and remember their heroes. The museums of the Republic have collected unique expositions where any item is a memory of how our country and compatriots experienced that difficult time.
Біздің жерлесіміз Түркістан облысының тумасы соғыстағы ұлы ерлігін еске алып
We take pride in the military feat of our fellow countryman, a native of Turkestan region, Khasibai Shapitayev.
келген
He was born in the village of Koktobe in Ordabasi district.
үлкен ерлік көрсетті.
He demonstrated courage at the Battle of Stalingrad.
13 атты артиллерия корпусы
During the Battle of Stalingrad, he was a member of the 13th Artillery Regiment.
кезде
And during that battle, he died, performing a great feat.
құлаған танкісінің астына
He threw himself under the enemy tank, holding a grenade to protect his soldiers and Stalingrad.
жаудың танкісінің астына түсіп
That is how he died, trying to save his fellow soldiers.
мерт еткен. Осына ұлы ерлігі үшін ол кісіге Кеңес одағының батыры атағын берген және де сонда
For that feat, he was awarded the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union.
ерлігі қазіргі
He died near Stalingrad, and newspapers are still writing about his feat for the new generation to know.
музейі де
We are also promoting the feats of our heroes in our Yelewisov museum.
позицияға
We put personal items of Khasibai Shapitayev on display. On April the 17th, 1943, Khasibai Shapitayev was awarded the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union posthumously. Another fellow countryman was awarded the high award in the same year. Zakaria Belibayev committed his feat when he was crossing the Dnieper River. During the crossing, the squad leader was seriously wounded and soldier Belibayev took command. Within a few days, he was able to transport staff, food and equipment under uninterrupted enemy fire. After that, he went through the whole war as a member of his battalion. After the victory, he came back home. His sister speaks proudly about him.
Zakaria Belibayev 1917
Zakaria Belibayev was born on May the 9th, 1917, in the village of Arkat, Abay district of Semey region.
1939 жылы әскер қатар
In 1939, he was called up to the Red Army. He served in the legendary 30th Rifle Regiment near Kiev.
1940 жылы
He began his military career in 1940 during the annexation of Bessarabia and western Ukraine to the Soviet Union.
1941 жылы 22 маусымда фашисттер Кеңес одағына баса
On June the 22nd, 1941, he entered the battle as member of the 19th Separate Pontoon Bridge Battalion.
ұрысқа кіріседі. Біздің жауынгерлердің
Together with the soldiers of the Soviet army, they overcame a lot of hardships. After Ukraine, he arrived in Moscow. He participated in the defense of Moscow.
оборонасына қатысады.
Along with the Battle of Stalingrad, the defense of Moscow and the Kursk Bulge, the crossing of the Dnieper in 1943 was a significant turning point in the history of World War II. Casualties of Soviet troops during that time were about 581,000 people. Some of them were wounded. Others got pneumonia while they were standing in ice water. The youngest hero of the Soviet Union among the Kazakhs was 18-year-old Beck Yelewisov, who alone repelled the attacks of the enemy and made crossing of military units across the river possible. The Battle of the Dnieper was considered as one of the largest operations in the world history.
Если взять Османа Сабекова, буквально в прошлом году я нашел представленный герой.
Let's talk about Osman Sabekov. I found information about him just last year. He was promoted to the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union. That's how it happened.
И 14 человек
They got the task to cross the Dnieper and create a lodgement area.
сидели
14 people crossed the river to the other side.
в осенний период.
And at 2 o'clock in the morning, on October the 1st, those 14 people left one of them to guard weapons, while others went and destroyed the enemy's machine gun and mortar points. And the next morning, the fascists attacked. Those 14 people held on for 3 days without losses. On the third day, the main forces had already approached and realized that they had really fought back. Osman Sabekov committed defeat when they fought near Kiev. 8 German tanks arrived to fight against them. The lead tank came very close, so Bekov crawled to that tank risking his life and knocked that one out. The remaining 7 tanks were forced to turn back. He was nominated for the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union, but unfortunately he did not receive it. Now Semey Council of Veterans is resolving this issue. In all likelihood, it will be resolved positively. The feat has no statute of limitations. The country must know its heroes. That is the reason why historians and researchers work in the archives, travel to battlefields and collect information bit by bit. Today, not all the names of Kazakh heroes are known, but large-scale work that is ongoing brings results. May the 28th, 1944. I counted. Today is the 1072nd day of the war. It's even scary to imagine how long we have not seen Dad. I'm trying to deflect my attention somehow. I continued to work and I started training actively. So I said to my mother, if the war does not end soon, I will go to the front to look for my father, and at the same time, I will help to push back the enemy. By the way, the radio reports became better. Sometimes they even say that somewhere our soldiers are already advancing and liberating the cities. Maybe that's why Dad doesn't write. He has no time. We received letters, and we got letters from Aris as well. A sheet of paper was folded into a triangle, and we got letters. There was no pen. We wrote as we could. What did we write about? We wrote that we were alive, healthy, attacking, that the fascists are retreating, and we were catching up with them. Letters were delivered to all corners of Kazakhstan. The communication was important and necessary for relatives who were waiting in the home front and for soldiers who spent days and nights in the trenches under shelling of the enemy. The archives of the country store the original messages of those years. Simple words that were written on a crumpled sheet were the most precious because they meant alive. Hello, dear Dad and Mom. I send you my How are you, my dear? How do you do? Is everyone healthy? Hello, dear brother Kolya. I'm sending you my army combat greetings from the front line with the wishes of Today I'm writing again. Just received the letter from you. We were losing our fellows. He was already abroad. My friend was wounded. He asked to take off his boots. We took off his boots and sent him to the hospital. It was a terrible moment. We caught shell fire. It's good that I hid behind Katyusha rocket launcher, under the vehicle, almost under the wheel. But I guess that our fellow died on the way to hospital. But we took off his boots.
Страх большой был. Войну, видишь, если особенно вот это пешеходный войны.
The fear was great. It was the war. Serving in the infantry was the most challenging. It was easier to serve in the aviation or in the navy than in infantry. If you were knocked down, then a second later there would be nothing left from you, and the bullets were whistling around in the infantry. It was hard.
Вот идет, пули свистят вокруг. Тяжело. Когда призывали в армию, я совсем маленький был. 1,50 м не было у меня, 1,49 сантиметров.
When I was called up to the army, I was very short. I wasn't even 1.5 meters tall, only 1 meter 49 centimeters. We joined our regiment in Aris. There were many Kazakhs. We were loaded into the train and taken to an unknown destination. At first I was left alone.
Я остался один. Потому что их возраст, который нормальный, через 2-3 месяца уже отправляли на фронт.
Others were sent to the front in 2 to 3 months, but I was too short. They didn't take me. I told the doctor, send me. It hurts me. All my friends left, but I'm still here. And he said, oh, the fascists are tall and you are short. You won't get through it. And I said, fight me, and you will find out how short I am.
Бороться. Вот узнаешь. Я маленький, но все равно.
Kleombet Kuzhanazarov went through 2 wars, the World War II and the Japanese War. He served as a mechanic in the aviation regiment. 47 heroes of the Soviet Union were native of Turkestan region. 7 of them were citizens of Shymkent. Our compatriot Golovko repeated the feat of Alexander Matrosov, who threw himself onto the enemy's machine gun. Soldiers from Kazakhstan took part in all combat battles on all the fronts of the war. Examples of the feats and heroic deeds of our compatriots during the war are countless. Korobov was a senior communications sergeant. There is a reason why I always talk about him. He was a citizen of Kazakhstan and he was from Almaty. He was the man who first crossed the threshold of the Reich Chancellery. He was the person who established the connection. If there were no connection between the commanders of the Soviet army and the interim government of Germany, then the German instrument of surrender would not have been signed.
Старший сержант Короб, который, так называемый, командир радио.
Senior Sergeant Korobov was the commander of the radio station, and he volunteered. No one ordered him. He volunteered to establish the telephone connection.
Наладил связь. Stalingrad. It's Berlin. Everything is fine. И про него как-то ничего не говорится. И есть воспоминания, вот у нас наградной лист здесь висит.
But nobody says anything about him. There are memories of his commander. He met him and asked, why don't you wear your Star of the Hero? And Korobov said, but nobody awarded me. Commander said, how? Many citizens of Kazakhstan were awarded the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union, most of them posthumously. But there were a lot of heroes without official awards among our compatriots. The feat was that they went to the front line and without sparing themselves, they were ready to face death for the sake of the people, for the sake of the victory.
Молодежь, мы даем такой совет. Работайте, как мы работали, как мы защищали.
I would give advice to young people. Work as we worked, as we defended our motherland, as we won. Learn from us how to live, how to behave.
Жизнь, как вести себя.
Мы свое это время прожили почти. На меня 96 лет.
We have lived our lives. I'm almost 96 years old. 3 steps remained until 100 years old. We want a peaceful life for our people and for our youth. There should be no inter-ethnic conflicts in our country. Everyone should be equal. June 1944. Today I showed my diary to Ali Beck. He asked me why I was keeping it. But I didn't even think about it. It's just easier for me to experience everything that is happening around. When I write, I imagine my dad here, and then the thoughts that he may not return disappear. My dream is to finish my diary with the words, "Dad is at home. The war is over." In 1943, a turning point in the course of World War II moved towards the confident offensive of the Soviet troops. How the country experienced that period? Who were the people who gave us a peaceful sky? Look for answers in the project Our Common Victory. To make everyone know, remember, and honor.